we are all constantly behind. Maybe you still need to finalize that presentation your boss expected a week ago, or you have a big test coming up that you haven't studied for yet. You know that you'll get it done, you just haven't sat down or focused hard enough to enter into that productive headspace yet. In slang terms, we say we just haven't got in the zone or in the groove yet. Oftentimes, once we actually begin the work and enter this flow state, we feel extremely productive and on top of things. But what even is flow, and why do we depend on it so much to be productive? All of these questions can be answered, but let's start at the beginning. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a Hungarian-American psychology student attending the University of Chicago, began studying artists for his postgraduate thesis. He conducted a series of interviews with artists who were in their studio working on their art. Csikszentmihalyi discussed the process of making art, how they found their work, and what they thought about it. He became completely captivated by artists as they were creating. They became less stressed, more productive, and more in tune with themselves. To these artists, the process of creation was much more important than the creation itself. The idea that external rewards were less important than the intrinsic pleasure of simply creating stunned Csikszentmihalyi and built the foundation of his life's work. As he refined his theory, Csikszentmihalyi published his novel, Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience. As this book defines it, the phrase flow can be understood as the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that people will do it, even at great cost, for the sheer sake of doing it. Now that we understand flow, it's important to understand how we can reach and use this enhanced mental state. When researching artists, athletes, and musicians, Csikszentmihalyi found a significant relationship between the challenge level of the task and the skill level of the individual at the task. These two variables can be plotted on a graph similar to this. Each of these areas represent a different reaction from the individual towards the task at hand. The most productive state of learning targets the flow area in the top right, where challenge and skill are both high. Let's say, for example, that you wish to improve your skills at the guitar, but you're constantly beating yourself up about your own progress. You feel that everything you do to practice is too difficult, and you just want to give up. You've probably placed yourself in a situation where the challenge level is high compared to your skill. Using Csikszentmihalyi's chart, we can solve your problem by decreasing the challenge relative to your skill. By decreasing the challenge level, we are able to target an activity that you are more highly skilled in. At first, these more basic tasks may seem simple to you, but push yourself just enough that the process becomes challenging. When we decrease the challenge of the task, we are able to find an activity that you are both highly skilled at and highly challenged by doing. As long as your experience is not interrupted, this change significantly increases your likelihood of entering a flow state. There are a few other ways to shift the skill and/or challenge level of the task, such as increasing the difficulty of the task, shortening task completion time, or splitting up the task into smaller, more manageable parts. If you've ever achieved this elusive state of flow, you probably know how rewarding it is. You feel safe in your abilities while also empowered to push past your own limits. As your focus increases, time becomes a blur. A striking sense of control takes over. It feels as though you've been mastering this task your entire life. You feel a sense of bliss that's hard to describe. When you're in this state, you want to keep working, keep creating, as long as possible. When we strive for happiness, we are often seeking this feeling. The feeling of true satisfaction as it applies to the things we love doing. Whether it's work, hobbies, school, or physical activities, achieving a state of flow can increase our fulfillment and engagement. Essentially, happiness and flow are completely synonymous. In one study from Csikszentmihalyi, teenagers who engaged in increased states of high flow measured higher levels of self-esteem and engagement in their activities. This study also found that high flow state participants felt their lives were meaningful and full of energy. In conclusion, flow, when applied to the tasks and activities you love, can be a powerful tool. It can single-handedly bring the power of your own happiness and fulfillment into your hands. But just like any other tool, it's not always easy to use. According to Csikszentmihalyi, happiness does not happen by chance. Like a tree, it must be prepared for and cared for by each person. Next time you engage in an activity, ask yourself, is this pushing the limits of my capabilities? Is this inspiring me to become a better version of myself? If I do this, am I engaging in a high-flow activity that will improve myself and my skills? Or am I just doing something that feels good in the moment? Your life, happiness, and fulfillment depends on your answer.